Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 10, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. Make it be known that I am going there under protest. I announced on the way to the Hostess of Fertility. Let it be known that your goddess doesn't give a damn, and why the hell are you wearing your damn meteor armor? Seshat demanded with her eyes twitching as damn near everyone stopped to gap at the guy wearing glowing molten-like armor leading his goddess in skimpy Egyptian clothing around. For a moment I didn't answer, and when Seshat coughed to continue to demand an answer I blew out an exhale of air. I know for a fact I am going to get into trouble and face issues for going there. And no, I won't explain why the place is troublesome, it just is. I said, making Seshat snort. While Seshat might have pushed or slapped at my armor-clad form for refusing to answer. She had learned already the hard way, that the meteor armor I was wearing was scalding hot on the outside, and she tried to push me out of her shop, and began crying when she burnt her hands. Then she began guilt-tripping me with how she had burnt herself on the armor she so lovingly helped forge into perfection. I didn't feel like I had much of a damn choice but to go to dinner with her. Thankfully the armor was magically cooled on the inside, so I didn't need to worry about such heat. When we got to the Hostess of Fertility, we easily entered, but the restaurant speech died down at the sight of my fully armored form and lithe goddess following behind me. But then the awkward scene was saved by who I recognized as the waitress named Chloe, who has green eyes and black hair with cat ears and a tail of the same color. "Hello. So, table for two?" She questioned with her cat tail swiveling behind her in interest at our arrival. "Yes, a booth would be nice please," I said, and then she led us to the booth in the back corner, somehow guessing that we didn't want to be gawked at as much despite my ostentatious armor. After handing out the menu, Chloe pulled out a little writing pad and spoke, "So what can I get you two for drinks while you look at our menu?" "Water," we both said in unison, neither of us wanting to drink alcohol and walk across the city at night. "All right, well just wave to me or Seer as we are in charge of this side of the restaurant tonight," Chloe said, and it was an Oscar award-winning act of my own to not twitch at the name Seer. "Oh, and where is Seer?" I asked guilelessly, making sure to ask where and not who Seer was, as I very well could recognize her curly silver hair anywhere. "Oh, she is in the back at the moment, probably grabbing someone's food." She is a pretty lady with silver hair, she is unmistakable, haha." Chloe joked and went on her way after she poured us some drinks, which I really didn't even want to touch with her history as an assassin. But not even a minute before Chloe left and Seshat slapped down her jug of water and was going to talk to me, we were rudely interrupted as a hand slapped down on our table as some drunk dude leaned over us. "Hey. Why's your armor all glowing and shit? Is it like those magic swords, but you made all the swords into armor?" he asked, slurring a bit, but I saw not only his friends staring at us with interest, I saw even Mia, the owner of the restaurant, was watching with interest. "Sure. It's made out of magic swords, now go back to your friends and drink the fine drinks of this finer restaurant." I spoke calmly as I mentally ready to summon my aquamarine and staff and just blast the man across the restaurant if he decides to get handsy. And what do you know, the man grinned and looked at his friends. "Boy, come on, I found what's going to pay our tab." Then the man looked at me as his friends drunkenly stood up. "All right buddy, so give me a shoe." "A shoe made out of magic swords out to be good enough, right Mia?" he shouted at Mia, who legitimately blinked in surprise at being addressed so bravely. Mia was already getting tired of the tomfoolery, looked poised to have the men thrown out but blinked in surprise as I winked at her. "All right here then," I said, pulling a chair over from one of the neighboring tables and throwing the boot-clad leg atop it. "You can have my boots if you can pull them off," I said, and then obviously the man tried to yank off the boots but screamed as he burnt his hands on the scalding meteoric armor. "Anyone else want to pull magical armor off me?" I asked, and everyone snorted and went back to their drinks as they probably thought I had some kind of skill that enhanced my armor or something. "All right you kids, take your friend to get some burn cream on those hands." Mia ordered the drunks, who grumbled but dutifully paid their debts and took their cringing friend with burnt hands off to probably buy some burn cream, as monsters with fire abilities weren't all that common in the dungeon, so most of the time adventures didn't really run with it on them at all times, unlike a general healing potion. Finally, we got some peace to look over the menu, and after we compared what we wanted. Seshat ended up getting a baked fish with some roasted vegetables, and I ended up getting the loaded spaghetti with meatballs and some vegetables. "So, Jake, do you think you will be going deeper into the dungeon with your new armor?" Seshat asked me conversationally, and I nodded as kobolds and goblins weren't at all a threat to me with how I picked them off at a distance, so I planned to move on to like the 5th floor where the number of different monsters varied greatly. Yeah, with the new staff and this armor, I am very confident in my chances even with the weird new monsters, I said as wondered how debilitating the heat coming off my armor would be for an aberrant monster of the 5th floor like killer ants and war shadows if they were to attempt to dogpile me. Well, I knew for a fact that the frog shooters would be completely helpless against me, as their tongues certainly wouldn't wrap around me. But from the kitchen backroom of the restaurant, I saw Seer Flova come out with a service tray tucked under her arm and was beelining towards my table. No, she was a missile locked directly onto me. Seer was a beauty with gray hair that she kept tied with a small knot in a ponytail style. Her eyes are the same color as her hair, and she has a light peachy-colored smooth skin that just barely looked human with how almost perfect she looked despite working for several hours. Hello. Welcome to the Hostess of Fertility, my name is Seer and what can I get you too? Seer asked and Seshat quickly said she wanted a baked fish platter. Seer quickly wrote down Seshat's order without much change from her service-oriented expression, but when she looked to me, I could see that deeply inquisitive light within her eyes, and I wondered what side filled either Horn's or Freya's eyes as she hungry stared at me. I will take the house special loaded spaghetti, I said simply and Seer didn't respond, still staring at me almost spellbound. Ahem. Seshat coughed frowning as she realized the way the girl's dilated eyes were staring at me, that something was up, and remembered how I didn't want to come here to begin with. Yeah, I could tell it was Freya in the Seer guise as I didn't think Horn would so smoothly get out of such a blank moment with merely a blink. Oh, I am so sorry, I was just trying to recall the spaghetti's complimentary sides, would you like garlic bread or salad? She asked with no shame and seeing Seshat not calling her out on lying straight to our face. I knew damned well that this was Freya. Fucking should have put my foot down and just made my goddess a sandwich or something. I mentally cursed as I kept a smile and just nodded, not holding the girl's weird staring against her. I will have your orders brought right to you guys, so please be patient. Seer said cheerily and even waved to us as she strutted back to the kitchen with an entirely too much Ceres swaying to her backside which sent her long skirt swishing about. You like her, Jake? Seshat teased me, and if I was drinking my water I would have spat it on her face as I already damn near choked on my own breathing at the thought of asking Seer of all people on a date. I would sooner tame and marry a harpy from the dungeon than ask her on a date, I whispered seriously and even made sure to cover the side of my mouth so no one could read my lips with my words, making Seshat's eyes widen dramatically as the words rang out true. Seshat then took a drink looking at me with a raised eyebrow before she shook her head. Ah, I see. You have already fallen in love with your beautiful and oh-so-helpful goddess, haven't you? Well, too bad I won't court you until you hit at least level 5 and gain an extra century of lifespan. Seshat teased me, making my eyes roll. Granted, you are certainly a great goddess who is actually useful, unlike a great number of deities who just sit around and suck up all their familia's wealth to buy ridiculously priced crap like Soma wine. While I was lambasting said useless god, Seer happened to be nearby cleaning off a table and knocked off a glass, breaking it on the ground as my words made her body twitch. But either way, it wouldn't be you courting me, it would be myself earning your affections, as I am no bumbling boy stumbling about, I said with some confidence, as I wasn't some dense cowardly harem protagonist that would get knocked out with a nosebleed at seeing some tits.